Hi, welcome back. Today is a hot, humid day in our Vietnam studio, but I hope you're comfortable where you are. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the Victory Team, and it's part of a series on how to. And by request, people asked us, how do I deal with my emotions? Especially my negative emotions. I just don't get that in Bible school, and you don't have the training to help me deal with that. So you're in episode 3 of How To. And in this section, and the previous 2 sections, we begin by learning, knowing. We have a process. We know, then we apply that knowledge. We reckon it to ourselves. And then we yield, we obey to the Word of God. We know, we learn truth, we apply truth, and then we do truth. So we're still in the first section, and this section is learn the triggers to your emotion. And let me warn you, we're not going to deal with the action today. We're just identifying. Just so you know, the first important thing is to face yourself and know what you're dealing with. So here we are. Welcome aboard again. We need to recognize that there are triggers, something that causes your emotions. And when you know them, again, you'll learn how to manage them. We identify the variables. It's kind of an engineering term. I liken it to woodworking. I'm an amateur cabinet maker. I make stuff at home, and I've learned the hard way that you have to learn to work with the variables. The variables in woodworking is the wood moves. It expands and contracts with humidity. And the man that doesn't plan on that has a bunch of cracked and split furniture the next day. But the man that knows that, and he can work around that variable and part of his process, and he makes expansion joints and so on, so the wood can freely expand and contract. That's the way we're approaching our life. It's as a process. We're trying to identify the variables, and once we identify them, then we'll make a plan to deal with them. First is understanding. Consider this, that there are many triggers that can affect your emotions. Again, mostly the negative ones. That's the ones we're dealing with. That's the ones that pull people down. Prescription medication or illegal medication definitely can have an effect. There's a side effect to those medicines. I'm not saying change your medicine. I'm not saying don't take your medicine. I didn't say that. I say you should learn what the medicine does to you and identify that. Usually when you go to counselors in the world, the first question they ask you, if you have a mental health problem, that's what they say. They ask you right away, what medicine do you take? They want to know what's affecting you. What's your trigger? Some other triggers is things that are out of your control, like violence, the bombing of something, or I likened it to the attack at Pearl Harbor in 1941. Oh, it's a big problem. I had nothing to do with it. And, it's out of my control. I wasn't even born then, but it made the news and it affected the whole world. And some of us are news addicts. You've got to tune into the news to see what's going on, and it definitely affects your emotion. Some events that are out of your control include, and this is sad, but we're going to cover it, decisions that are made by someone that you love. Perhaps poor decisions not based in faith, but decisions you know are going to hurt them. It definitely does affect your emotion. Music and sounds. Oh, you're kidding. Music is very powerful. Look what Saul, he'd have an evil spirit. David would play the harp and he'd settle right down. He was okay after that. Oftentimes, different concerts, they really get rocking and get the beat going and whatever. You know that music is powerful. I'm in Saigon. I can walk down the streets here downtown and I can hear some oldies American music when I was a kid. They're playing at the coffee shop, and it takes me back in my mind to when I was a boy, when I was a teenager, and it changes my emotions. Music is definitely a trigger. Colors. The colors of your world have an effect on your being. Sales, we know sales. We know a Marlboro cigarette pack is the best-selling. Marlboro used to be, I don't know now, but years ago, it was the best-selling cigarette. The same tobacco as the other people use, but their packaging had a little gold trim, had like a white with red and some gold, like a, coat of arms, and it was everything that was appealing. Just a little yellow is attractive, too much is too obnoxious, so on. I have in the slide here a UPS truck. Why are they brown? Because brown is dependable. That's what they want to be. In your mind, brown is dependable. Whereas if it was red, you don't see too many brown, gray, brown, UPS colored sports cars. Whereas red, now that's racy. If I had a red pickup truck and the same model brown pickup truck, I ask you which one is more dependable? Well, the brown. I ask which one is faster? Well, the red. It's just our minds perceive colors, and whether it's bright or drab, it can affect your emotions by a lot. Now, this may be different to you, but the clothing that you wear, Deuteronomy 22, verse 11, for those that really are into the law, and that's a good thing. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together. We have our clothes now, it's 35% polyester, 15% rayon, whatever that is, and there's nothing real in it. It's different blends of plastic and maybe a little wool, some cotton, all that stuff, and you wear that, and that fabric rubs and connects and disconnects. That's what causes static electricity. Dissimilar materials connecting then disconnecting. So get reasonable, but get comfortable. And if you can wear cottons, wear cottons. I know it wrinkles, but I'd rather have you smiling and wrinkled than, no wrinkles and depressed. Other senses, all your senses, smell. My wife uses aromatherapy in the house and in the car. We have a much more pleasant drive to where we go. Of course, touch is a big sense. Even your past experiences, something like can trigger that, and that triggers an emotion. So there's lots of things. One thing you should know is food, what you put in. Sugar, not good. You don't need to add sugar. As a rule of thumb, if God made it, it's good. If it comes in a plastic bag and sits on a shelf, it's not good for your health. And when you eat, I feel so good when I have that sugar for a little while. Look at your kid. You get them all sugared up and they bounce off the ceiling. Half hour later, they've crashed. They just all come down and so on. It's not good. Same with booze, and Coke, and smoke, whatever. If you have a problem in your emotions, in your state of mind, those things maybe temporarily will block those emotions, but they don't cure you, and you only get worse. If you eat a half a pizza before you go to bed, and you go to bed on that full stomach, and you've had all kinds of toppings on that pizza, you're not going to get a good rest. In fact, you're going to have some weird dreams. not where you want to be. That's not what you want to do. Hormones, of course, period, and stress, and lack of sleep, they can affect their emotions. Jesus told his followers, come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while. Most of us violate the fourth commandment. We don't keep a Sabbath. If you're in the ministry, you're working on the Sabbath and you don't take a Sabbath day, and you're hurting yourself. Come apart. Come apart or you'll come apart. Jesus isn't implying you need to take an expensive cruise or go down to a casino and waste your money gambling. He's just saying, hey, once a week, get some rest. Maybe that still small voice will talk to you when you can shut your phone off and take a break for a little while. Of course, your eye. Mine eye affecteth my heart. You learn more with your eye than you do with your ears or your other senses. Images, they can make you discontent and lustful. You cannot con a contented man. You have to get him to be discontented. That's the first rule of executing a good con. Don't ask me how I know that, but I know that. There are people who would make merchandise of you. They would do things. They sell you things, and the movies are so dramatic. I still cry when I even hear the word Bambi. I still cry. It's just so much. Commercial TV, it's commercial. They're trying to get you. They're trying to get your emotions. What they want to do, though, is get to your wallet and string you along. I used to play Monopoly with my sisters when I was a boy, and I probably cheated. I can't remember what. I'd own everything, but I'd keep them alive, keep them so they'd go around so I could draw that money off of them. I just like, sucking it out of them, but keeping them alive so I could get more of their money too. That's commercial TV. Listen, it's a whole industry called marketing. They're trying to separate you from your wallet. They make you discontented. It's a basic thing. There are actually chemical imbalances. I'm not saying that in a light way. There are actually, in a blood test, urine test, so on, and there may be some kind of drugs can treat those symptoms. But I would be a little concerned. I'm not telling you to take action. I just know this. Does your doctor ever tell you your child's Xanax levels are low, or your child needs Prozac? Really? Maybe your child doesn't need a 6-pack of Pepsi and chips and sweet and Lucky Charms. Maybe that would help before you put them on Prozac. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor, but you should ask the question, Doctor, does this cure me? Or does this just treat the symptoms? Weather. Are you kidding me? I live in upstate New York when I'm not here. And it gets dark and cold. It seems like forever. It affects some. People buy me these lamps, to simulate the sunlight. I think it's nice. But really what I want a ticket to Vietnam where the sun it's nice and comfortable. Weather does affect us. So, listen, recognize your triggers. I probably left some out. This is just to know what triggers. When you were doing good, suddenly you're down in the dumps. What happened? What happened to you? You triggered, or it was dumped on you, something. I'm not saying we're going to take action, but recognize what that is. And for some of us, all of them are us. I'm affected by music and food, everything, of course. Maybe some know those triggers. And listen, speaking of triggers, we have great sponsors on our channel. Here's one now.
Hi, I'm Diane Kiltz. and I'm a watercolor artist. I'm owner of Turtle Springs Studio in Etsy. I make watercolor cards. They could be used for any occasion, and someone that would receive my card would really enjoy it, because I do animals, flowers, plants, birds, anything there that makes people happy. They can also be framed. Again, it would be a blessing if you sent one of my cards to someone that you love.
All right, I told you, they are good sponsors. God bless you. Stay tuned in, because we're progressing. We're helping you learn so you can feel better. How to do this. We're telling you how. In this last episode, learn the triggers that affect your emotions. And then pretty soon we're going to talk about dealing with those triggers. All right, God bless you. Have a good day. I mean it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.